What's up, soldiers? Your boy Chris here, CaribbeanPot.com vibes, and up in the kitchen as usual. If you've not, well, this is a follow-up to the video I did with my dad talking about cocoa and chocolate and stuff like that. If you haven't seen it yet, at the end of this video I will link, there will be an annotation that you can click on to see that video. We're following up on that, and today we're making cocoa tea, the actual, well, I guess most people would probably know it as hot chocolate, but this is not that powder stuff you find in the grocery store. This is the real stuff. We're doing it old school, we're doing it traditional. Yeah, man, this thing here. And here's the thing about cocoa tea. Any hot drink we would drink in the mornings in the Caribbean, yeah, it's known as tea. So Ovaltine, tea. Milo, tea. Cocoa, tea. Even when we did stuff with the baby leaves of the lime tree or the soursop, it's all tea. So vibes it up, man. Cocoa tea. I'll quickly go through the ingredients that I'm using here today for this cocoa tea. Over on the stove here, you won't be able to see it right now, but I have about 2 to 3 cups of just plain old milk coming up to a sort of a simmer. Here I've got some coconut milk, some sweetened condensed milk, brown sugar, and I'm cutting back on the amount that I'm using because I'm watching how much sugar is in my diet. But typically when my dad makes it, he loves to go in heavy with the condensed milk. I've got here some dried orange peel, totally optional, some vanilla, nutmeg, allspice, and here I've got about 4 pods of cardamom. I'm just going to toss in a couple of them, and that is totally optional. That is not traditional to making cocoa tea. A couple bay leaves, but I'm going to use one. I'm going to use 1 stick of cinnamon. And this is the actual cocoa. After it's been processed, it's formed into this sort of log. In some cases, you're going to find it as a ball. But what you need to do is, it's got a lovely aroma, and you can smell the buttery richness of this cocoa. And what we're going to do is grate this and make it into that hot chocolate or hot cocoa that we're talking about. This one here, I got it off my friend. His mom is from Dominica, but she lives in St. Thomas, U.S. Virgin Islands. I would think it's from Dominica, but where can you find this? Interesting question. Go to any West Indian or Caribbean grocery store if you're outside the Caribbean. If you're traveling through the Caribbean, at just about every airport you will find it. As I said, it would be like a log like this, or even like balls. Some of the Latin stores tend to have it as well. So these are the ingredients. I'm also going to need a pinch of salt. But again, you can tailor this to any which way you like. Here I have the milk, as I mentioned earlier, coming up to a boil. And what I'm going to do is go in with 1 piece of that dried orange peel, 1 bay leaf, 1 stick of cinnamon, and it's relatively small. Now the thing is, we don't want this to go to a vigorous boil. I want this to be nice and gentle. I'm going to go in with a couple of those cardamom pods in there. Pinch of allspice, and this is probably the first time you're ever going to hear me use the word pinch in any of my recipes, but we really don't want to overpower the cocoa with that allspice. We just want to give it a nice hint of that, and you can tailor it. As I said, you can put whatever spice you like, whatever spice you don't like, don't include it. I'm going to go in with some of that freshly grated nutmeg. Next up, it's all about that coconut milk. And my dad would tell me stories. Now, since they lived on a cocoa and coffee estate, they didn't have any cows, so milk, cream, anything like that wasn't available. So this entire thing would have been made with freshly grated and prepared coconut milk. If you're going with a sort of a dairy-free way of doing this, you can leave out the sweetened condensed milk. You can go with all cane sugar or any sort of sugar or honey that you like using. And as I started with that, with this dairy milk, you can use almond milk, you can use whatever substitute that you use. Pure coconut milk, I would go maybe a 75-25% ratio with water, so you're not too strong on that coconut milk. Next up now, it's all about grating that cocoa into the pot here. All the ingredients I use here today will be posted on CaribbeanPot.com. I'll have some additional tips for you on there. I'm going to continue grating this in here, and also down in the description of the video. All you need to do now is whisk that together. As I whisk that together, I'm going to go in with a good vanilla the brown sugar, and I'm going to leave the sweetened condensed milk to add near the end, because I really want to bring this up to a gentle simmer and let that go for about 3 or 4 minutes, just to release all that flavor from everything that we added in there. As it comes up to a boil, I want to also go in with just a small pinch of salt. That's just going to help brighten up everything. As it comes, you can notice in the corner as it's starting to come to that gentle sort of simmer, I'm going to keep my heat so it remains at that temperature, so maybe a medium low, and let that go. Earlier I said 3 minutes, but I really wanted this to go for about 5 minutes to really steep and bring out all those flavors. It's been going gently for about 5 minutes ever since it came up to that simmer. I'm just going to finish things off now with that sweetened condensed milk. And remember, you can tailor this, you can taste it and add as much how sweet you want this to be. I'm just going to turn off my heat. Chris here, CaribbeanPot.com, a wicked homemade cocoa tea, the original hot chocolate. If you can get your hands on some of that processed cocoa. When I say processed, there's no sort of preservatives or anything in that. I just mean after it's been made into the cocoa stick that I showed you there. If you can get your hands on some, I would highly encourage that you give this a try. Your entire kitchen will be having that that spice smell that you're getting right now here, that richness of that cocoa. I mean, so you have to be from the Caribbean or maybe Africa or something to understand what they're talking about. Central America, you got cocoa there? Well, here you go. Strain it, serve it hot. If you want to go fancy and put a little whipped cream on top, do your thing, man. Always a pleasure to have you guys here in the kitchen with me. Remember to leave comments below, hit the thumbs up, subscribe, do all kind of thing, man.